last time, but I'm going to assume this is your first time seeing it. Here we have our title screen, and you can press play to begin. You stand at the edge of a sprawling forest clearing, the afternoon sun glinting off the spires of the grand castle ahead. SpellCraft, the school of magic, rises majestically, its walls shimmering faintly as if woven with enchantments, smaller buildings floating drift lazily around. Tethered by glowing golden chains of light, the air hums with magic, and every step you take fills you with awe and anticipation. One major part of this game is we wanted a story, so we made a pop-up system where you can show an image and some text, and there's a lot of text, so I'm just going to summarize it for this 5-minute video, but if it's something that interests you, I advise you to read through it. So, you see an explosion at the school. You see a wizard fly out and land in a nearby bush. You help him up, and he tells you what happens. "I am Professor Eldrin Starsworn," he says with a dramatic bow, slightly wincing as he does. "Instructor of all first years, an occasional victim of experimental mishaps." He chuckles, although there's a nervous edge to it. He gestures towards what the castle, now visibly scarred by the explosion. That, he says, was the result of an experiment in the arcane laboratory. Something went awry. A miscalculation, perhaps, or interference. It's impossible to say for sure until we investigate further. Jump cut. Have to say hi to a roommate. Anyways, he tells you about the explosion, and you go closer to investigate. You head back to the school. He tells you to head you head to the castle. And we also have different backgrounds that pop up when you change areas. He tells you to go join the other students in the auditorium. He's going to go look for the professors and make sure the grounds is secure. You go to the auditorium, look around at the magic, and wait in silence until, poof, he appears out of nowhere. And he tells you what happens. He tells you that there was a portal, and professors went to investigate the event, leaving a note that they would return, but they haven't, and he fears something dangerous has happened. He doesn't want to just leave them down there, so he wants volunteers to aid in their rescue. But the audience is quiet. Everyone's too afraid to enter. So he looks at you directly. Will you answer the call? And you will. A volunteer. You raise your hand, and he tells you to follow. He has much to explain. He gives you a map that will recognize when enemies are around. In the story, that is. In the game, it'll show what rooms there are to explore. So, he takes you to this main hub area. On our left, we have the spell library, where you can choose your spells. However, since this is a tutorial, you have predetermined spells. You have the dungeon, which you can enter to fight monsters, and you have more rooms which are coming soon. You can also speak to Eldrin, since this is a tutorial. He gestures you to follow him into the spell library, where he begins to explain the cards. Oh man. Oh, the music is looping. He explains that in this world, magical spells are held within cards, and he gives you these 4 beginner spells to work with. And he tells you to take them into the dungeon and prepare to fight things. I had an explanation scene set up for the dungeon where he explained how the map works, but it was too glitchy because you come back to this room, and I didn't want to, fix it later, but I need to work on assignment 6 next, so I'm not doing that right now. You enter into the room with the ice rats, egads, and he explains it. He explains the enemy card, the health, the enemy health, how to select a spell, and how to cast a spell. The most important thing to know is it's type-based, and he'll explain all the types to the player, and it's timing-based. You want to release the spell when the spark effect is at the peak of the wand, like so. So, if we use a fire spell at the peak of the wand, it'll deal a lot, whereas if we used an ice spell at the not peak of the wand, it would do barely nothing. So that is the main flow of the game for now. Sort of knowing the type matchups and skill checks. He explains that chaos is good against fire. How? He explains that ice is good against earth. How? 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 And finally, the Chaos Rat. Oh no, it's taken one of the other professors. Wow, you gotta fight that, free the professor. Earth is the way to beat chaos. How? 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 And just like that, you win. Thanks for watching our game. And if you play it, tell me what you think of the story.